It's your boy, Coach Defense here. Thanking you for supporting the channel. Become a lockdown defender by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And if you're enjoying your time, hit that like button. Help us grow in the community. Now, check out our latest video. Leave a comment. And as always, you got to step up to lock it down. Let's ride up to 405 and talk about the Chargers.
Yes, sir.
So it is Raiders week. And, if you're not in the, I guess you can say the Chargers inner sanctum, you don't understand that how big of a week that is for most fans, right?
Yeah.
Although the Raiders have been a complete dumpster fire for the past 20 years, they always seem to think that they're better than the Chargers. I always get that sentiment, right?
Yeah.
We see the tweets, we see the IG posts, but let's pull up on El Segundo Boulevard. Let's post up on Chargers Corner and discuss week one of the regular season.
Yep.
What are the expectations for the team in the first quarter of the season is what I want to drive home with this particular segment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in talking about the Chargers in week one, we've had some scares. Justin Herbert went down with the foot, but all things point to the idea that he's going to be back and he's quote unquote, not hindered anymore by this plantar fasciitis he's been dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we 4 o'clock on Sunday. SoFi Stadium, first home game for us. What are our previews, expectations for this particular matchup is going to be a good one. AFC West battle. So I guess from a Raiders week perspective, these are things I'm kind of covering for the particular aspect of the week. Like I said, talking about Justin Herbert's health, I think that we are all holding our breaths, as fans, hoping that he's well. Because they play a lot of smoke and mirror games with the idea of what guy's health actually is. He spent 2 weeks in a walking boot. Doesn't seem to be hindered by it all. But again, if you're anybody that's had a foot issue, including me, these things can linger, and that's just for a normal person. Moving around day to day, you're not playing football. So that being said, are we hoping that what they're saying to the public is factual? He's healthy. He's not. It's no setbacks. But we're all gonna be holding our collective breath every time he gets hit around his legs, rolled up on. Somebody stepped on his foot. Everybody gonna be wondering, right?
Yep.
But despite having Tyler Heinicke being acquired in as a backup, I'm still not optimistic about our quarterback position outside of him. So if the best bet is to protect them, if at all possible, just protect them and protect them well. What Joe Alt's going to look like. They said Sean Slater was dealing with a few things, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be set back in playing, so he should be a left tackle. So the tackles are solidified. We got a new center. That's always a question mark for me. So that goes into the point about talking about O-line, how well they're going to be, how productive they're going to become week one. So that is a sticking point. How well will they come together? How well the offense is going to move. I talked about this a few weeks ago about how the offense is kind of being stuck in neutral because Justin hadn't been there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you don't have your backup quarterback, when you have a backup quarterback running the offense, it's a different dynamic. So it doesn't allow the defense to kind of gel and get better, iron sharpen iron type of thing. So the defense was kind of stale. The offense wasn't moving the ball. So it's kind of rough. So the last week, 2 weeks, we've had Justin back in the fold. It's been looking better. The morale has been up. The third preseason game was a staunch difference from the first two. So you would say that they're trending in the right direction, but you did lose that time. You did lose that time with Justin not being there. So that, the 2 to 3 weeks or 4 weeks or however long it was that he wasn't there, you missed that time getting your offense together. So I'm curious about how well the offense is going to look in week one, as well as how our O-line comes together.
Mm-hmm.
Who will be the number one pass catcher? How Justin Herbert is going to look week one against the Raiders, and overall how we play against the Raiders, because the Raiders always seem to play us tough, although they don't look as well on paper as we do typically. It's always a tough game because it comes down to the toughness factor, and them always having that grit about them and having just those those lunch pail guys that they bring to the fold. But overall, again, I'm just looking at it from a perspective of how the offense is going to move from the top. I think that we're going to be leaning towards trying to run the ball heavy early.
Yeah.
While we figure out the receiving core and who's going to be the number one guy. So I think that's going to be the I guess you can say the calling card to the offense. And I think that there's still question marks about who's going to be the starting running back. It's going to be J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards, but I lean more towards J.K. because I think he's more of a dynamic back. Gus is just straight power. He's north to south, but J.K. can give you a 3-down component. So I'm looking for him to be, the number one guy, but we'll see if they're going to do a true sharing of the running back room, when it comes down to our OC wants to run the football. I mean, he's a Baltimore guy. Everybody knows it. So everybody knows that he likes to run the ball, and he runs it with anybody. So it's just a question of whether or not he'd be a true running back by committee, or we give J.K. the lion's share to carry. So we'll see. But I do believe there's going to be really run centric early on while they figure out the pecking order when it comes out of the receiving room.
Yeah,
and that's all we predicated. As we'll talk about Dallas O-line early on is how they ultimately with a young or retooling O-line, you got to figure out what you do well. And I think that if nothing else, you figure out how to run block first. If they can move the ball in the run game with two solid blocking tight ends on top of the O-line we have, I think they're gonna run the ball heavy, pass situationally, and until that one guy from the wide receiver room emerges to being the number one guy, that's gonna be your calling card. So we'll see how things go there.
That's the way Harbaugh likes it.
That's his calling card. So I do believe that that's what we're going to see. So I don't think we're going to light up a scoreboard the first month, but I do think that if you could control the clock, run the ball, and establish that, I think that'll bode well for the confidence of the offense of line, if nothing else. If they can move bodies in the run game, I think they'll build their confidence, and they could come together faster than it would normally come together.
Yeah. I mean, Harbaugh, if there's any guy that can match the grit of the Raiders, is going to be Harbaugh. That's the one thing that I think they've made a great move bringing him in. The Raiders are that one team, that nobody wants to play. And
right.
You don't want to play them not because you're scared of them, but because they're annoying. Because it's like they're not good. You look across the board, you're like, these guys are not good, but they just never go away, and they're like a pest.
Good point. That's a great point.
So it's going to be a good matchup. Division games are always solid. I love the coaching matchup there. Between Pierce and they got a lot of vets on that roster too on that coaching staff. So they're going to dial things up to try to play cat and mouse with Harbaugh and his staff on that side. So it's going to be interesting to watch, and it's going to be old school football. I feel like so.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I do believe it's going to be smash mouth type of football, and just who's going to be the more physical team and who's going to win out in that particular space. So it's going to be interesting. Getting back to the list there, I think that who's going to emerge, who's going to establish themselves as the number one pass catcher is going to be a question early on in the first month. I think that Lad McConkey is on my list as being top, but again, he's a slot guy, so you have to take that into account. Can he become the Chargers version of Cooper Kupp? I think that remains to be seen. But again, like I said, he's a rookie, so there will be growing pains there. So, but if he stays the course, I think that him building chemistry with Justin will bode well down the line later on in the season. But you still got DJ Chark hanging out there. Can he stay healthy? Josh Palmer, who's never been a really he's kind of just a guy, in my opinion. I mean, he's not he's not an elite runner. He doesn't have elite speed. He's just kind of a guy. So I don't really want to rely on him as being the number one. And Quentin Johnson just annoys me. So I'm just not high on his ability to be the number one person. If he's wide open and you just happen to throw him the ball to, maybe he'll catch it. Maybe.
Maybe.
But again, I'm not banking on him to be the number one guy. So I'm looking at DJ Chark if he can stay healthy, and Lad McConkey to be the guys to hopefully be the ones that catch a lot of passes from Justin Herbert early on in the season. So we'll see.
Yep.
All right. So, and then talk about Justin Miller's defense. I'm very excited about this particular aspect of it. I've been watching, a lot of, preseason games and what he's been doing schematically, just with the reserves.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of exotic schemes in blitzing fronts that people aren't, really, really giving him a lot of credit for. He actually underscored this on the Chargers YouTube page a couple of days ago. Shout out to Brett Coleman, who did an expose on him about 10 minutes about how Justin Miller attacks defense differently. And it could confuse and really stymie a lot of offensive coordinators early until they kind of figure it out, because it's a different brand of football that he plays on that side of the ball. It's very exotic and very unassuming. Like he might give the same front 7 different times, give you a different blitz out of the same look. You just don't know where it's going to come from. That's going to really, really bode well for the Chargers as far as getting a good pass rush on top of a good blitzing package, getting after the quarterbacks early on in the season. I think that'll bode well for us on Sunday, getting after Gardner Minshew and every building O-line for the Raiders. So I think that's going to be an added benefit. And so those two things kind of go hand in hand for me. If we run the ball well and have a solid defensive outing with our personnel, I think we'll vote pretty well on Sunday against the Raiders. But again, it just remains to be seen, because like you said, it's that annoying team that never wants to go away, no matter how good or bad they are.
Yep.
And and they go to your point about AP. He's going to coach these guys tough. And I think they're going to be tough, hard, gritty, and I think they're going to fight for every yard. So you have to take it from them. They're not going to give it to you.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, I get this. Like I said, my expectations for us to to establish the run. I'm looking to see from a matchup perspective how Joe Art's going to do against Max Crosby. I think that's going to be a trial by fire move, and
Yeah.
who's going to win that out. I think that's going to be a good test for Joe Early playing right tackle. It's going to be a good one.
What a way to start your career.
Hell yeah, exactly. Throw right into the fire. Don't wait.
Yeah.
Let's see that top 5 pick earn his money, right?
Yeah. Well, the good news is, that you ain't gonna face much better.
No,
So I mean,
So if he does well against him, you should feel comfortable that he's gonna be good.
Yeah.
I agree. So again, Harbaugh's toughness, his grit against AP's toughness and grit is gonna be a really good matchup. I think we looking at that for 2 times a year for the next few years. It's gonna be something we can kind of get our arms around and wrap around. It's gonna be some good matchups against those 2 coaches. So it's gonna be a good one. And that on top of the fact that what J.K. and Gus going to do a year removed from their injury, so it should be a good one. It'll be a good one. Only question mark I really have is the tight end and what the wide receiver is going to do. But if somebody emerges out of the ashes and realize they're going to be, a playmaker, then I think we'll be in good shape.
Yeah. Can't wait to see it.
Yes, indeed. Okay. All right, man. So we'll see how things shake out, man. But I'll be glued to the television on Sunday. You already know that. So I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. Finally get to see what these starters look like because we haven't seen them at all in the preseason.
It's excitement and a way to bring it in against a division opponent. So at least you're at home though, so that's the benefit of it. You get it comfortable, you get a rhythm going especially for those younger guys and rookies, all that stuff like that. So that should come in handy for them at least.
Indeed.